Hello everybody, welcome back to part 2 of the autobiography of Nelson Cheeseman Sr., our father. In part 2, we are going to be talking about who's who and places of his upbringing and etc. So, let's start with my grandfather Pop, your dad. Where was Pop born and what's his full name?
He was born in Ward County, and his name is Levi Cheeseman.
And your mother's full name?
Alice Marie Cheeseman.
And she was born where?
I don't know.
Okay. Pop. Let's jump on Pop real quick. How many aunts and uncles do you have, or how many siblings that did Pop have?
He had 2 sisters and 6 brothers.
Do you remember their names?
Let's see, Samuel, Philip, Sidney, Windrew, Alfonso, Thomas, and William.
Out of your aunts and uncles on your dad's side, which one was the coolest and who did you like the most?
The coolest one was Samuel.
Oh, well, can you tell us something about Samuel?
Not much, because he went in service and then in the army, and then he stayed in out of state. I think it was Georgia for a long time, and he did come back home with his wife and he got a job, and he bought a home on Old Fort Houston Boulevard. But he died a few years after that. He didn't have any kids.
How about your other aunts and uncles? Anything you can tell us? Any general stuff you can tell us about them?
No, we were just a regular family members.
How about your grandparents, Pop's parents? What can you tell us about them?
They were very nice, well-loving, and providing.
Did you go stay over their house much when you was a kid?
I lived with them for a long time.
Okay. And what were their names?
William Cheeseman and Minnie Cheeseman.
Where are they from? Ward County as well?
Yes, both from Ward County. Well, but my grandfather was originally from Mulberry Island.
Okay. Do you know what school they went to, or you know what school your grandparents went to?
No, I had no idea.
How about your dad?
I don't know what the name of the school was, but he dropped out when he was in the 6th grade to help out with it, and got a job working, helping make money to help feed the family.
Wow, that is something new. I did not know that. Okay. When did Pop and Grandma meet? Do you remember when they meet or how they met?
No, I had no idea.
Okay. Well, do you remember when they got married?
No.
About when they got married, or when they got married, where they were when they got married?
No.
How about where they lived when they first met?
I think with my grandparents on my daddy's side.
Okay. As a child, where did you live the most? Between Tullifall Road and, was it Lula?
Reddick Road.
Reddick Road and
I live mostly with on Reddick Road. I was kin to everybody over there, and a lot of the boys, we all, but right, at least 7 of us, but the same, right at the same age, and between 1 and 3 years different.
During that time, with all of your relatives, how many boys and girls were in the neighborhood that you got to play with and hang out with?
Oh, it was so many, because it was kin to everybody down there. All the family was related except for 2 families.
Do you remember the 2 families that weren't related?
The Christian and one half of the Reddick family we weren't related to. My great aunt married a Reddick, so the first and second cousin to them, third cousin. That's how we related to the other one half of her.
Let's go to Marbury Island, now Fort Eustis, which turned into Fort Eustis, and now it is Fort Eustis Langley. How much do you remember hearing as a child or to present day about Marbury Island?
Well, Fort Eustis at present day, remember going down, and we used to go to the baseball games they have at night down there, and I remember seeing pause. I remember seeing Willie Mays play. He was on the baseball team there at Fort Eustis, and then we used to go down to the teen club. Along with some of the kids that we went to school with, along with one of them, they had a pass, and we could all go into where the pool was and the pool room and all as their guests. And I used to go to the movies as their guests. We'll meet them at the theater, and they show their ID and tell them we're their guests, and we can go right on in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leaving the island, moving from Marbury Island to Fort Eustis Boulevard, what do you remember anything that the families had to endure that they talked about having to leave and to start over?
No, I didn't hear anything about that. About Marlboro Island, I didn't even know anything about that till I was grown when it started having the Marlboro Island reunion. That's when I learned mostly about that.
Did you go on and off the island as a kid, teenager, or as a younger adult, or when did you go onto the island?
Most on the base as a teenager.
And that's to go to the teen clubs and see the baseball game?
And all 4 stayed once a year. It was open to everybody. You could go down and get in the ducks, and they'll ride you out in the water and everything, and you could ride the train down to Heliport and back. And that's all I can remember about that.
The family church, Colossian Baptist Church, when it was on the base, I know that was before you were born, and as a child it was on Fort Eustis Boulevard. What do you remember as a child or even as a young adult, your first knowledge about the church and the history of the church?
Okay, before it was Fulton Boulevard, it was on Johnny Crawford Road. They renamed it as they were getting rid of some of the names. It was all black area, and it was back then they were naming the streets after white people. And so after he died, they changed it to Fulton Boulevard, and then from there they changed it to Old Fulton Boulevard when they widened, put a new stretch parallel with it into York County.
Okay. The church, what kind of history do you know of the church?
On Marlboro Island?
Well, either on Marlboro Island or what can you tell us about the church now, past or present?
The only thing I remember, they say that the foundation was still there and the graveyard was still there, and that once a year that Colossians would run a trip down there, church member in vain, and take them down there where the old church used to stand and the foundation is still there. But I've never been there.
Okay. Now, I know once when we were talking, you were talking about the grave site, and you said that there were Indians buried on the island as well and in the graveyard. Do you know the what type of Indians? Was it, Herons, Powhatan Indians?
Not at this time. I don't know what the nationality was and the tribe name, but I'm not sure they were buried with Colossian people, but they were buried on Marlboro Island, and they lived down there, but they removed them after the government took over.
Okay. Let's go to some streets that are current today. Let's start with Warwick Boulevard. When you was a child, did you spend much time on Warwick Boulevard?
Only crossing it, going into the base or something like that. And back then we didn't call it Warwick Boulevard. We always called it Route 60. And the same thing with Jefferson Avenue. We always called it 168 because that was the name, number.
Okay. What do you remember most about Warwick Boulevard as well as Jefferson? Changes. If you had the chance to say, I would love to see this old store or this old building, right now to show my kids. What do you think it would be?
Jefferson Avenue, which is 168, there was only 2 red lights from there all the way to school. The Yoder Dairy with Patrick Henry Mall and all those stores across the street like Best Buy and all of those, all that was farmland. Yep, belongs to Yoder. All the way up to it was an army base right there at the corner of Blaine Boulevard and Jefferson. The name of it was Red Hill. It was a residential place for military families. There was few of them lived there, and the rest of them lived on the base. Where the army had a school bus that left folks used to stop there and pick those kids up, and they had to ride the army bus to school.
How about Mercury Boulevard? I know at my age, growing up, I see the significant changes in Mercury Boulevard with buildings coming up. I remember when there was just the little fields and the gas stations, as well as the Coliseum Mall and stuff like that being built. What if significant changes do you remember about Mercury Boulevard in the 50s and the 60s?
If I ain't mistaken, it was 2 lanes going and 2 lanes coming. And there used to be a lot of swampy area over there where Newmarket and Northfield and some of them other places over there, and they filled in all of that. And it wasn't Mercury Boulevard at that time. It had another name. I can't think of it right now. I forgot. It might come back to me, but I can't place it now. But it was Military Highway, I think.
Okay.
If I'm mistaken.
How about Pembroke Avenue? What do you remember about Pembroke Avenue? It didn't have much. It doesn't have much now.
It didn't have that much because I didn't know that much about it because we didn't come down that far when I was small, because there was nothing down there. I remember I thought there was a sawmill somewhere out there when I used to ride down there with Daddy to see somebody, if I ain't mistaken. Might have to Google that, I'm not sure.
Okay. How about the East End, downtown Newport News, Pinky Beach? What are your biggest memories about that area?
Well, East End, I used to come down there with my grandmother and grandfather. They used to come down there to make groceries. The stuff they didn't get out the field and stuff, like meal and sugar and flour and the great big tin, they used to call them tin boilers. So they would, they then had to come down there for that until it'd take a long time for them to use all that up. So they had to make a whole lot of trips down there. And it was cheaper to buy it that way because they did a lot of baking and frying and stuff like that, cooking. And I remember the theater they used to have down there, the Dixie Theater, the Jefferson Theater, and the Moton Theater. And I used to go to them when they would come down to my grandmother and my aunt. They used to get their hair done every 2 weeks down at they had a special lady that did their hair every 2 weeks. And so while they was getting their hair done, just about all the fair down there with this shopping, I would go to the Moton Theater and see the movies and the chapter picture, which you had to look at every Saturday to keep up with it.
The Moton Theater that's still down there now, is it Moton Theater? Is a little center down there now?
Yeah, the Moton's still there. And I think they tore the Dixie down and the Jefferson Theater, all that torn down. Both of the Dixie and the Moton was about a block apart, but the Jefferson Theater was on 25th Street.
Moton Theater is still there because I danced in there once. I didn't know it was a dance. I just thought it was like an entertainment place where people would go on stage and do certain things and so forth. Pinky Beach. Was it always Pinky Beach, or I've heard a few different names?
Well, they used to call it Pinky Beach, and then they changed it to Lincoln Park, and it was a dispute where they wanted to change it to Martin Luther King Beach, but instead they named it King Lincoln Park because of they didn't want to drop Lincoln, I guess, named after President Lincoln. Get back to King Lincoln Park, Pinky Beach. Every year, Daddy Grace Church, whatever, when they had their convocation down there, they would have a big baptizing down there. We would go down there and watch. Your mother and I, and some of y'all after y'all was born, and they always had a big parade. We would get up early in the morning and get down and get a park right on Jefferson Avenue, right in front of Roses, 5 and Dime. So because the parade, that was the middle way with the parade, and then they had the people in the back of the big trucks that they would be throwing candy out, and then they had with their degrees coming by, waving, with the gray soldiers on each side, running alongside. And it was a nice affair. Everybody used to be looking forward to it every year to see it. But as the years passed, the crowd dwindled down there, and the time has changed. They were saying it was too much. We don't have a lot of security, I guess. I'm not sure why they stopped the parade. It had something to do with that in this city of Newport News.
When do you remember your first time attending Buckrow Beach, Bay Shore, Shore Beach? When do you remember your first time, and what do you remember about it?
Well, I remember Sunday school would run a bus down there once a year from Tallerfield Road. We used to go down there like that. And we used to enjoy the bumper cars, and there were other rides. I didn't do that swing you around. I didn't get in none of that, nor the fun house, because it was dark, and you could I heard everybody in there screaming. I didn't pay to go in there. And then they're playing the game that they had, trying to win some change. And that's about it. Yeah.
Do you remember how much it cost for you to get in the bumper cars? 5 cents, 10 cents, 15 cents, a penny?
I don't know whether it was, I don't remember, because it was 20 cents or a quarter, one or the other.
Okay, that's kind of expensive then.
Yeah.
Yorktown, well, Buckrow Beach, when you would go down there, Buckrow Beach, adjacent to Shore Beach.
Bay Shore.
Bay Shores, were there as many blacks on the beach as whites on the beach on either side, or?
I don't know, that we couldn't see down on the beach where they were. It was a fence down there, but it was you could see through the fence like a chain link fence, I think it was. But we couldn't see all of it. You could barely see over that side. There was a pier, I think, out there.
I can remember that. I can remember that fence.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they really cleaned that fence all the way up until sometime in the 80s.
Yeah.
Or sometime. And now that you say that, now it's just making me. Now I think as your son, what was that raggedy stuff out there, and that was the separation line.
Yeah, and we could see on the roller coaster. They had a roller coaster over there. They'd be over there hollering. Nowadays, that looked like a little hill compared to the other roller coasters they got nowadays.
Oh, they had two roller coasters. They had one further down, and then they had the Buckrow Beach amusement park.
Well, Bay Shore didn't have a roller coaster.
Now, when we were kids, before in the early 70s, when they tore down, when they had the amusement park at Buckrow Beach.
Oh yeah.
That roller coaster, is that the roller coaster you talking about?
Yeah, that's what that was on the white side.
Oh, okay.
I think in the later years, I think they opened up to both sides, so you could go over there. But then it started fading away.
How about Yorktown Beach? What was significant about Yorktown Beach,
It was nice, and but out of both of them were Yorktown Beach, but you had it. You were separated, by raised. Once you went over, you facing across the water. The white beach was on the left hand side, and the most of the blacks was on the right hand side.
Okay. Well, let's jump up into the '60s. I know you graduated in '61, correct?
Right.
Okay. So 1961, when you graduated, were you still going back and forth to Reddick Road and Tullifowl Road? For the most part.
Once I graduated, I would go up there, but didn't have no bus service then. I went in school, use the school bus.
I mean, but when you was in your 12th grade, when you was in 12th grade.
I went back, I went forth on to over in the Colony area, which is Reddish Road.
Okay. Now, did you get your own place, or did you get your own place when you and my mother got married?
When we got married, I got our own place. What it did, while I was working, I put some furniture, paid on some furniture and stuff, started paying on it, and went out and we put in for apartments. They had that ready. Once we got married, they had the furniture delivered, and then we moved into it. And 901 48th Street. So I was in, got all of that street, and that's how we got to our apartment. They had it ready for when we got married.
And that's right there on the corner of 48th Street?
Yeah, 48 and Marshall.
Okay, so that's the start of the Cheeseman kids, huh? Biggest memories about Old Newsom Park. We only lived there, 5 years? No, maybe longer than that, because you got married you got married after high school?
No. A year after, your mama graduated. After I did the following year, we moved to the new apartment in June of '62.
Okay. So you was there for 8 years, for the most part, till you moved to Newsom Park. No, 6 years.
That was Newsom Park.
Well,
to the new section, yeah.
Okay. So in the old section, biggest things that you could remember in the old section. I know I remember the burgundy car. Was it? It had a white top on it. You have a Galaxy?
It was my first car was a 1957 Ford Galaxy 500.
That was burgundy.
No, that was black. And then from there I got a '68 Ford Galaxy, had a white vinyl top on it.
Okay, that's what I remember.
Yeah, but it was blue.
Blue? Okay. I thought one of them. Okay.
The '64 Ford. What year was that '64 Ford? And it was burgundy all over.
That's what I remember. That one. I don't remember those two. Okay.
Yeah, that's the last one that I bought. No, the '68 was the one I got. The other one was a '64. Then I got the '68. When we moved out here, I still had a '68 Galaxy 500.
Okay. So, what are the big things that you remember? How was the apartment? I mean, was it cold? Was it raggedy? It was home.
Which one you talking about? The first one? It was all right. How long they kept we had all stove in the living room that would heat the whole house, and had 2 bedrooms, living room and the kitchen.
Okay. Now, did we have mice?
Yeah.
They were nice mice, huh?
No, you set regular traps just like everybody else behind the sofa or somewhere, wherever you see them crawl. So doing the winter months, field mouse and all, they look for somewhere warm, and they can find your way in.
Okay. Newsom Park. Well, friends in Old Newsom Park. Who were our neighbors in Old Newsom Park that you can recall?
My best neighbor, we was in a 2-unit one, was my next door neighbor, Gladys and Goldie McDaniel and their mother and their grandmother.
Miss Gladys, the one that I know?
Huh?
Miss Gladys, the one I know as a kid?
Well, I don't know which one you think you're talking about. She got thick glasses, weak glasses.
I think. I know we had, when we were living in 48th Rochester Court, there was a Miss Gladys that lived across the parking lot somewhere.
I didn't know them.
Or maybe that was,
These was right next door. Goldie, that's recently died. She graduated with your mother.
Okay.
Well, Junior got some pictures of them.
Yes.
So, so you should know them real good.
Okay. 48th Street, Rochester Court. We were only there maybe 3 years?
Probably so.
What did you like about 48th Street? What about Rochester Court?
I like Rochester Court. They didn't have a whole lot of drama. It was quiet, but say 90% of the time I worked 2 jobs, so I didn't get to know too many people. Most time when I was home, I was sleeping.
Any neighbors that you remember from 48th Rochester Court?
There was the Brown next door. He worked second shift. And so we would see each other some weekends or something like that. I wasn't working. He had 4 girls. And the woods that lived right on that corner, we could look at their kitchen door from our kitchen door. Mm-hmm. And he had 4 girls.
Okay.
Then there was the lady that lived next door, Miss Lena. She was real nice, and she was raised in Rick and his sister Millie. In fact, Rick and Wood, third for me weekend, I had them to help me move out here.
Okay. Before we moved to Fox Hill, what did you know about Fox Hill?
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Right.
It was just a new move, out of apartment into a house. Was what you were looking at, or?
Yes, because your mother was real sick, and every time she go up the steps, she had to stop and catch her breath. A lot of times she would turn around and walk backwards up the step. That's hold on so she wouldn't get too winded. So I needed something on her. The bathroom was upstairs, all the bedrooms were upstairs, and it was getting too much for her. And get a new apartment in a good area was just about as much as a house payment. So I invested in getting a house with everything on the same floor and no steps.
So her sarcoidosis, that came.
When we were living in Newsom Park.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like in the early 70s. I didn't know she had it that early. in our life.
Yeah, well, we moved out here in '71. She had it then.
Okay. Okay. What were your biggest concerns when you moved to Fox Hill?
I didn't hear no concerns. I heard a lot of rumors, but I wasn't worried about that. I had the same kind of weapon they did.
Well, your rumors is in having problems with white folks.
Yeah, that's what everybody was saying. But then, when we moved in here, this was all new. When the lady brought us out here, all these houses was up except this one. That one they was up. Wasn't nothing yet but the foundation and red clay dirt. So that was in April, so I had to wait 6 weeks, 8 weeks until it finished. That's why I moved it out here in May. But with all new neighborhoods, they were black and white, so I didn't have that problem.
Now, we were the first ones to move in this circle. Who was already here? I thought we were the first ones to move in this circle.
I think Rosalie them was over there, I believe. And
Robinson, and Dwayne and Felicia.
Yeah.
And Tony, LaTony.
Right. And there was a white couple living there with 3 kids. Fran, her name was Fran, and what her husband's name was. He was from Georgia. He was real prejudiced, she said, when he first went in the military. So he was having a problem, but he found out that everything ain't what they cranked up to be when they got in there. And he got ease off some of his prejudice, and then he invited me over there to look at the game and have a few drinks, and he said it shocked her. So he changed his view on life after he got in the military. So I know they were there. But then I think Blonda them moved in soon after, because I looked in one of these houses. In fact, Blonda them house, they said they were moved in, they might have moved in before this, but that's the one we went in and looked at. Your mama wanted that house. And I said, no, I don't, it's all right. I said, but we got 4 kids. We ain't got no front yard. And I said, and the sun come up in the evening, shone right on the front of it. I said, over that house over here, they got a big backyard and a big front yard. And her daddy and mama was with us. You're right, and I said, we got trees already there, so there's plenty shade in the summertime to help keep you, the air conditioning bill won't be as high. And then she rethink what we were talking about, and she said, yeah, you're all right. And that's why I settled on this. Because I got the paper in the room there somewhere. I remember the deed showed with it was April of '71, but I said they moved in until 3rd of May weekend because concrete hadn't been poured for the floor.
Okay. The '80s. What do you remember most about the '80s versus change and so forth? I know my mother passed away. Was it '81? Was it October '81?
I thought it was '82.
'82.
Not October, December. I was in December. I remember we all went to Baltimore because your mama had passed. We put all the toys and stuff in the car. I believe.
I have to think about that, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, because all of them got together and had bought some stuff for Christmas. The Fulwood family bought a little small TV for y'all room and one for the girls, I think. And then they was dying so fast. The murder died, I think it was December the 8th. I know your grandmother Fulwood died the 8th or the 5th. I'm getting the days mixed up, And then Daddy, the following year, Daddy died. No, he died the same time, December the 28th, after Murder's death. And then your grandmother died. And then the following year, the following year, your grandfather died. No, Fullwood.
Oh, yes, yes.
And, well, your mama died after that because I remember Christine and Dinah come out to stay with her when y'all call him Big Daddy passed.
Yeah.
And then I think he died in November, then she died in December.
Okay.
And then my cousin James died right around the same time. Yeah, everybody was dying so fast, I thought I was next. Family-wise, you know.
You remarried. When did you remarry?
June of '84. July.
Okay.
The 28th. Yeah, her brother was so scared I won't show up on the right date because I was getting it mixed up with Unita's birthday, which was the 29th. Because I kept getting the date mixed up.
And what was her first name and maiden name?
Brenda Joanne Lamerson.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good. And you retired from the shipyard in what year?
It was February 1st, 2004.
Okay.
I didn't go back after the Christmas shutdown. I took the whole month of January vacation because my birthday was I wasn't old enough. My birthday was in January the 13th when I turned 61. But I had vacation coming to me, and then to use the holidays, I had 2 days over into the New Year. And then with the Martin Luther King birthday and the New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and we had a Florida holiday that they wouldn't give us through the year. They used it at the end of the year when they shut down.
The shipyard. What was the worst part of working in the shipyard?
You get very, very cold. Then you get very, very hot when you're on the ships and thing. But when I first went in there, I was in cleanup, so I worked 40-12 for 3 years. Cleaning building, locker room, bathroom, on the skids, bathroom, until when they passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and they made them tear down the wall. I transferred in the sheet metal shop, which was all white for 100 years. And me and with 2 other black guys, and then we went in there, it was July the 5th, 1965. And they fired one of them because they lied on the application. So there were three of us, the original blacks, that went in the shop, and I stayed in there 12 years. And then
did they try to? Did some of the guys try to make things hard on you guys, or?
Oh yeah, now the guy that went in with me, the guy wouldn't tell him nothing. They supposed to be trained and wouldn't tell him nothing. He kept the drawing in his pocket. Then when they went to the bathroom, he took it with him. At lunchtime, he had it in his pocket. Wouldn't let him see the drawing. Every time he asked him something about the job, he gave him some kind of off-the-wall answer. But they put me with an old white guy, and he said, Cheeseman, I'm not prejudiced, but a whole lot of me in you are. And a whole lot of them said they ain't gonna have nothing to do with the colors. He said, I'll teach you what I know. All I don't know, we're going off and find out. And he said, once you get it up here, they can't take it from you. I got a raise every 6 months that time for me to get another raise. I couldn't get it because the John F. Kennedy had left out and the work was slack, but my supervisor told me, he said, Cheeseman, when work pick up, I'll get you that raise. And he did. And the guy I was working with, whenever we work over 2 nights a week or either on Saturday, he went in and told us, and my mate worked with me all week. He can come in on Saturdays and work with me. He looked out for me. So everybody you see ain't prejudiced. And so the best, you raise Cain with somebody till you think they're prejudiced, you don't get to know them all the time. And he was true to his word. He taught me everything, anything I want to know in that drawing, he told me.
How much was you making? What did they start you out in the shipyard?
I was making $285, and then 10% working night shift. But since we were working on overhead expense of the shipyard, didn't get much because you were just doing cleaning. You wasn't producing anything. But when I got a big raise when I transferred into the shop on day shift, I was making $318.
Okay.
Somewhere around there was 3 something.
If you could get all of us together and travel back in time and sit on the fence and tell us this, hey, look at this. This is where I was at. This is what I was doing. Whether it's a time with you and my mom, our mom, Meredith, or you and Thomas and Aunt Mary, the root and tootin' of the Cheeseman family. What would you say where would you say it would be and when?
I would say stay in school. I hated school because it was hard for me to learn.
No. If you could take us, say, hey, we're going to take a trip back in time, where would you say, hey, we can go here and we're going to sit and watch the day go by like a movie? Because this is something that was enduring to me as a child. You can say, hey, I'm going to take you back to when I was 5. We're going to go back to when I was 5 years old and watch me and Thomas do this, or you and Mary do that, or Mom and Pop, or whatever. What would be something that you would take us back and we could watch as a movie?
It's hard for to say. It won't nothing much back there. It won't nothing places we could go no more. No, play out in the yard, enjoy yourself, and go up there and play baseball up there on the way they used to have the Easter egg hung over on Tylerfield Road, and nothing I could tell you because everything was so separated. So our space was limited, and then over on Reddick Road every Saturday or Sunday there's a baseball game going on, the baseball park. Enjoy yourself, but during the winter, one of the darn things you can do but stay in there trying to stay warm.
I remember as a kid, when we used to go up Lee Hall, the baseball field, is that what you talk about on Reddick Road?
Oh, that's not Lee Hall now, that's Reddick Road. Lee Hall is Tylerfield Road.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that baseball field was on Reddick Road.
Yeah.
And what's going on that with that baseball field today that you know of?
It's all houses. All that property was sold. All new neighborhoods and stuff down there, and white folks and all down in there now.
I remember as a kid going down there. Oh gosh, the wall, the bumblebee, the yellow jacket.
Oh yeah.
The baseball game was great. Everybody had bags of peanuts and whatnot,
Yeah, people making money, sitting there, roast them, bring them over. And say going to the Yorktown Beach and stuff, you know, we enjoyed us sit there and watch y'all get in the water and stuff like that. And then you could go across the street to the drugstore and get the ice cream cone.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. Oh, yes, I remember that. Yes. Okay, well, you only have a handful of questions left, Dad. And these are about historical people, historical and famous people, and eras of life. You had already graduated from high school. It was November the 22nd, 1963. John F. Kennedy was killed. What went through your mind when you saw it on the news, and what was the biggest conversation with your friends and so forth that you can remember?
Well, I know we lost a good president because it saved me from going into service when I got drafted. When he got in there, he changed the military status. They wasn't drafting anybody that had a family, so they changed my status to 1Y, which was married with kids. That way the government wouldn't have to pay for while the guys in service pay for their kids and all of that. So they saved the country a whole kind of money. And there was so many rumors going around about that. Martin Luther King, they sealed his record for 50 years. They sealed John F. Kennedy's record for 50 years. I don't know anybody in history that they sealed their records when they got killed. And now they just released John F. Kennedy's sealed record. Half of it is still marked out. And they had 50 years to rewrite what they didn't want you to hear. I don't believe in the black neighborhood, there's a rumor that him and Vice President Lyndon Johnson couldn't get along with each other, but hey, they couldn't stand each other. And we, through the grapevine, heard different things. That John F. Kennedy was going to pick Martin Luther King to run. So he knew with him he had the country sold up with all the black. And by him being their president, and the CIA and all of them were tapping his lines, every move he made, and tapping all the conversation. So that's why we think Martin Luther King was assassinated. So, and President Kennedy. But that was just a theory, because it's too much. Deliberate all the information that's coming out now, there's no reason why to seal it.
When JFK was killed, were there any riots in this area? And a lot of cross-eyed, you walking here and looking at this person, but you looking at me for, any animosity amongst people?
Not that I can recall. The biggest riots was when Martin Luther King was assassinated.
So,
because there was a big riots in Washington. Maybe it might have been in New York too. And
that was 4/4/68. Did the neighborhoods, the communities have any major changes around here when he was killed?
No, but when Martin Luther King got killed, when you went down on that ship, you could hear a pin drop. No white folk were saying anything. They were scared to death.
For my history, I know when I was a kid, Mama used to always say they weren't allowed to talk about Malcolm X and Big Daddy's house growing up. And then I didn't really hear much about Medgar Evers like talking about until the movie came out. And I know we heard about it in school, but it was just, hey, Medgar Evers, he was shot such and such and such on this day.
Well,
but when Medgar Evers was killed, it was 6/12/63. What was your mindset at that time?
I don't know. It's we had the Gentleman Guide, and the Jet magazine came out. That way we got most of our black news, because they didn't put a whole lot in the southern paper, like and it was on the news. I'd always watch the news, like I do now, and they would have something on there with half drivers investigating and stuff like that. When we knew the claim was behind it, the assassination of most 90% of all the black leaders. You just couldn't prove all of it. They took but 40 years to arrest two guys that bombed it, the killer for a kid,
Yeah.
blew up, and they'll wait so long for the trial. That's when all the witnesses dead and stuff like that, so they get off scot-free.
Yeah. Malcolm X. What did you think about Malcolm X as a person, as a man, and what he stood for?
I love the man. They always say that there was a militant group or something like that. They'll label anybody a militant group to stand up for their civil rights. And he didn't back down at none of them. They couldn't tie him up in anything. And when they had that thing up there in New York, and all those guys came out there on the street, and that police captain, and they wouldn't move until he raised his hand, then they moved. They couldn't move him. And he said, ain't no, did you see it moving? No nigger should have had that much power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what that was about. And during the Black Panther, which was part of their group, there was a charitable organization that fed a soup kitchen for feeding the poor and all, and the government didn't like that because they couldn't do it, but they were doing it. So they couldn't find they said there was nothing but selling drugs and all that, which was untrue. The Attorney General of the United States, can't think of his name now, and the mob got together on a yacht based on the true story. They had it right up under the footnote to put drugs in South Central to discredit the Panther. But it backfired on them. All the white kids had heard about it, and they were coming down to watch in South Central buying drugs and everything, and all the white kids got hooked on it, so it backfired on them.
These last few questions, notable people. I know in part one we talked about Miss Katherine Johnson of the movie Hidden Figure. Something quick that you can say about her.
As a mathematician and all, she was great. I'm sorry that they didn't recognize her while she was working, segregated from all the whites, and they were stuffing their nose up at them. And if you look at it, they were pure genius compared to their white counterpart, all three of them. And I tell you, her oldest daughter graduated with my sister Mary, and the two youngest ones graduated with me. And they say they didn't have no idea what they would. All they know that their mama got up and went to work every day. They never discussed the job when they got home or anything like that. Till they got grown and all this stuff started coming out.
Mr. Otis Redding, I always brag about living in Newsom Park, and that's like one of the things I always tell my friends. You know, I say, yeah, you know, Otis used to carry me on his back and set me on the car, and the neighborhood kids used to watch him in the band play. I know I was kind of fabricating it, but you know,
Yeah,
I like to say I
you
know
were
Otis.
stretching it.
But what can you tell us about Mr. Redding, Mr. Otis Redding?
I know he was working in the shipyard in the riggers as a hook-on man at the crane. And when back then, you could go over Norfolk and cut your record. But I used to hear him down there practicing at night through the week. And when he cut his record, he went over Norfolk and cut his record, and they finally got it on the radio, These On My Mind. He walked out that shipyard and he never looked back. The way I got to understand of it. But they used to have groups over there at the Wagon Wheels in Gloucester. Each one had a certain time to sing and do their part. And then you had to get off stage for the next group to come up. They had to throw him off the stage.
And where was this at?
In Gloucester, with a place called the Wagon Wheel.
Oh, okay.
You go over there and you got Piccolo John in the back. I went over there with Daddy one time when I was younger, and what his name came here. He had a song called Skinny Minnie, Long Tom Sally. Turn, I can't think of his name was, but the band was in there. And they performed what hour before he came in. I saw a guy blowing a saxophone with dark shades on. That guy like they blew the roof off of there. I think it was Larry Williams. He died of drug overdose or something back in the day. And I enjoyed that first time I ever been in a place, with my daddy. But they used to have dances over there all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a cousin, the guy that put the slate tile down in here. He, they always was in fights. I might not put that on there. And
how about notable figures like Pearl Bailey?
I learned about them in later years. I didn't even know she was from Eaton Ranch until, you see it in Jet magazine, back in the day. And people would say, well, is she from around here? But that's how I got it. Didn't know nobody. I was grown then.
Ella Fitzgerald?
Yeah, the same thing. I didn't know she was from around here.
The Five Keys.
And I knew they were from around here. Everybody would talk about them. Because they had a Sullivan show. When you get to the Ed Sullivan show, you know you're good. You're 5 times better than the white group back then.
The two brothers of the group, the Persuaders, Richard and Robert. Do you remember their last names?
I can find out. If he graduated in your mama's yearbook, it's in the room there.
Okay. For you guys.
Poindexter. Well, Poindexter. Remember I told you in there?
Oh, the Poindexter. Richard and Robert Poindexter.
Yeah.
Okay. Move again. Everybody in the video, you can see down at the picture on the floor. Those are the original the original crew of the Cheeseman, of my Cheeseman lineage. My dad, my Aunt Mary, my Uncle Tim, and my Aunt Dale. And in the picture, the big picture sitting on top of the coffee table.
Wait, let's go back to here. That me, right?
Correct.
Murray and Tom. These are dead kids. Dale is not.
Okay. So the three original amigos, plus my Aunt Dale, is in that picture at the bottom, and the big picture to the left of my dad, you see my grandmother Alice, my other grandmother Margaret Cheeseman, which was Nana, and my grandfather Pop, my dad's father. So those are the heads of the family. I'm hoping that this shares a little bit of light on the Cheeseman family point of view from Nelson Cheeseman Sr., and hoping that, hey, you guys will do something like this with your father or one of your grandparents so that we can build our history for our children to know about Hampton, Virginia, Newport News, Virginia, Warwick County.
Okay, Warwick County isn't Newport News. It merged together as one and did away with Warwick County. The Newport News only went to Pembroke Avenue, and the rest of that from there on back to York County line was Warwick County.
Okay, so, and you're hearing it from my dad. So, hey, thank you guys for watching, and we look forward to a video from you and your family. Thank you, and be blessed.